Go.
Welcome everyone to the Grove's Lupercalia celebration, our second annual Lupercalia celebration. Tonight we are going to talk about how Valentine's Day actually came to be and then take part in a short ritual. So my name is Birch. I will be leading this talk tonight, and then after the talk we are going to break out into a short wolf ritual here at the Mead Hall. So to begin, you may have heard that Valentine's Day has its true origins in a pre-Christian festival called Lupercalia, but the details of how our contemporary holiday of commercialized romance began as a Bronze Age rite celebrating the primordial power of Canis Lupus, the great wolf, is not widely known. The story of Valentine's Day begins with the legend of King Lycaon, known as the Wolfish One. According to Ovid's Metamorphoses, Lycaon was a primitive lord of Arcadia during the earliest eras when humans walked the earth, a time when the constellations had been hidden for a long time in dark fog, began to blaze throughout the whole sky. Lycaon was among the worst of a bad lot. His infamous crime was to try to trick Zeus into eating the limbs of a dismembered child to test his all-knowing ability. But Zeus, the king of the gods, was not fooled. In Zeus's words, "Immediately as those limbs were placed on the table, then I brought the roof down on the household gods with my avenging flames, those gods worthy of such a master." Lycaon himself ran in terror, and reaching the silent field howled aloud, unable to speak. And he was a wolf from that day onward. So how does this macabre tale connect to Valentine's Day? Mount Lycaon, otherwise known as Wolf Mountain, is the mighty peak in Arcadia where King Lycaon was thought to have been transformed into a wolf. It became the site of a secret ritual honoring the wolf Zeus, during which adolescent boys celebrated the symbolic transformation between wolf and man. Modern archaeology has revealed that this mountain was a religious center long before the name Zeus was ever known in Greece. In 2008, it was announced that ritual activity dating from 3000 BCE was evident at the site. The wolf rites of Mount Lycaon appear to have been the direct inspiration for the more famous Roman holiday of Lupercalia. This festival, which spanned February 13th to 15th, was a fertility rite intended to purify and protect the city of Rome. Lupercalia was an ancient pagan festival held each year in Rome on February 15th. Although Valentine's Day shares its name with a martyred Christian saint, most historians believe the holiday is an offshoot of Lupercalia. Unlike Valentine's Day, however, Lupercalia was a bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration awash with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking, and coupling in the hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility. According to Roman legend, the ancient king Amulius ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews and the eventual founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. A servant took pity on them, however, and placed them inside a basket on the river instead. The river god carried the basket and the brothers downriver to a wild fig tree, where it became caught in the branches. The brothers were then rescued and cared for by a she-wolf in a den found at the base of the Palatine Hill where Rome was founded. The twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife, and they learned their father's trade. After killing the uncle who'd ordered their death, they found the cave den of the she-wolf who nurtured them and named it Lupercal. It's thought that Lupercalia took place to honor the she-wolf and please the Roman fertility god Lupercus. Lupercalia rituals took place in a few places. The Lupercal Cave on Palatine Hill, the Lupercal Cave on Palatine Hill, and within the Roman open-air public meeting places. The festival began at Lupercal Cave with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. The sacrifices were performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. Afterward, the forehead of two naked Luperci were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. The blood was then removed with a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Luperci laughed. Two young noble boys were then brought into the cave to do something that creeped the hell out of the Christians, who ended up banning this festival. The priests would touch their knives to the heads of the boys, staining the boys' head with blood. Then the priest would dip wool in milk and rub it on the boys' heads. That was kind of strange, but what really made this ritual unnerving was what came next. With blood and milk streaking down their heads, the boys were required to feign laughter. After this, though, came the main event. The priest would make leather thongs out of the goats, the boys would strip naked, and the real games would begin. Feasting began after the ritual sacrifice. When the feast of Lupercal was over, the Luperci cut strips, also called thongs or february, of goat hide from the newly sacrificed goats. The men that would run up and down through the city, naked and covered in oil, striking those they met with the shaggy thongs. The lower class wasn't allowed to do this. Only the highest ranking and most dignified in the city were allowed to take part. So people like Mark Antony would strip naked, oil up, and run down the streets. Once they were good and oily, they'd run around hitting people with their shaggy thongs. Actually reminds me of Krampus. They'd target women who would pretend to run from it, but secretly, the women would try to get hit with the thongs. If you got hit with a thong, the Romans believed, you would become more fertile.
Okay.
So women would bare their backs and offer up their hands in the hopes that the naked, oily men would whip them. Those thongs, by the way, were called february, and they were named before the month. The entire month of February is named after these magical potency thongs.
Okay.
And from that, we get St. Valentine. Thanks to St. Valentine's reputation as a patron of lovers, he became synonymous with romance. In the late 5th century AD, Pope Gelasius I eliminated the pagan celebration of Lupercalia and declared February 14th a day to celebrate the martyrdom of St. Valentine instead, although it's highly unlikely he intended the day to commemorate love and passion. In fact, some modern biblical scholars warn Christians not to celebrate Valentine's Day at all because it's based on pagan rituals.
No.
Oh.
What is it?
Valentine's Day uses some of Lupercalia's symbols, intentionally or not, such as the color red, which represented a blood sacrifice during Lupercalia, and the color white, which signified the milk used to wipe the blood clean and represents new life and procreation. White and red. Anyone else trust Lupercalia today?
No.
No.
Not even close.
Pink.
Pink. Pink. Peachy pink.
Peachy pink, yeah?
Peach pink.
That's a mix.
Oh yeah, that's what happens after the wool and milk get mixed with the blood.
Yeah.
It turns
There you
pink,
go.
it's all of our skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the milk used to wipe the blood clean represents new life and procreation. In some parts of Rome, they would take the whole fertility ritual a bit further. Eligible young women hoping to get pregnant would write their names on clay tablets and place the tablets in a jar. Then the men would draw a name at random. Two completely random strangers would hook up and be together for the rest of the festival. Some of the details on this are a bit vague and inconsistent, but it seems like these two weren't just going on a blind date. The man was there to make the woman's dream of having a baby a reality. Exactly how long they stuck together seems to vary. Some say they spent the festival together, but according to others, those two be sexual partners for the next year. So, Roman Tinder.
Tinder.
Tinder run graphs for the other way to celebrate Lupercalia. The last Lupercalia was held at the end of the 5th century. By then, Christianity had taken over Rome, and Lupercalia was one of the few Roman holidays that was still being celebrated. Pope Gelasius ended it, though, declaring that it was a pagan ritual full of blood sacrifice that glorified sex.
Oh.
Wonder where he got that idea from. By this time, most of these acts in the ritual had been stopped anyway, but that did not matter to the Pope. Although we don't know all the details of how it was celebrated in the 5th century, we do know that the Pope challenged the Romans who complained to actually do that running around naked part, and none were willing to do it. The Romans weren't too happy about losing a festival, though, so a new festival came into existence, St. Valentine's Day. Well, technically, the Pope replaced Lupercalia with the slightly less popular Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary, but eventually it became St. Valentine's Day. The holiday got the name St. Valentine's Day because people named Valentine had a strange habit of dying on February 14th. Two separate Valentines had already died on that date, so they created St. Valentine's Day, a day to remember a saint who got beheaded. Over the next 1,500 years, some things changed. Instead of putting their names in jars, women got cards. Instead of hitting women with leather thongs, men gave them flowers. But the holiday we celebrate still got its start here. Lupercalia does embody some important symbols, though. The wolf, purification, and the shepherd and dancing. Yes. Not just I like twerking and
Gotta dance. Macarena.
Macarena.
Kaufman meat.
So, the ancient festival Lupercalia is observed February 15th to 13th to 15th to purify the community and send the evil spirits packing. This festival is meant to cloak its people in health and fertility in the coming spring. It was also a festival to honor Lupa, the she-wolf of mythology, who raised the orphan founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. Those two whom I mentioned earlier, they were put in a basket, sent down the river, raised by a wolf. The wolf symbolizes family, learning, cooperation, insight, stealth, strength, leadership, loyalty, freedom, individuality, psychic energy connected to the moon. Oh! Of course, hidden wisdom, sharing knowledge and wisdom, cunning, hunting, seeking, introspection, listening, magic, and dreams. But tonight we are going to take place in a more modernized Lupercalia ritual here at the Mead Hall. So the ritual is going to be slightly different from last year, working with materials on hand, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, Jen, the smoking stick is over there. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
you got it.
Oh, there we go. There. So, we're tight on space, so stay in place.
Yeah, I just
So,
Wait, put your hand.
wave your hand.
It'll go.
absolutely. So I cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out.
We will begin to call the quarters.
Guardians of the East, powers of air, you who are breath and creativity, great wolf who lives within the great breeze, we call upon you and invite your presence to witness this rite. By the power of the air, we bring about our desires. So mote it be. Good sound.
South. Guardians of the South, powers of fire, who are the passion and the hearth, the great wolf who lives within the coals of the fire, we call upon you and invite your presence to witness this rite. By the power of fire, we bring about our desires. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
West. Guardians of the West, powers of water, you are you who are intention and mobility, great wolf who plays with undance. We call upon you, invite your presence to witness this ritual. By the power of water, we bring about our desire. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Guardians of the North, powers of the earth, you are the strength and stability, great wolf who lives upon the lands for centuries. We call upon you and invite your presence to witness this rite. By the power of earth, we bring about our desires, so mote it be.
So mote it be.
Lupa, mother, she-wolf, we call to you. To nurture and guide us in the coming year. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Lupercus, god of shepherds, we call to you. Join us, watch over us in the year to come. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Pan, come to our circle and share our celebration. So mote it be.
So mote it be. So we gather tonight to ask for your hand in purification and blessings for the coming year. Encircle us as we set ourselves free of what holds us back. Join us after our work is finished to celebrate and make us merry. So now we have here the sacred red bowl in honor of Lupercalia. In this bowl, there is salt and water. So we're going to pass the bowl around. Please place your hand over your heart. Focus on purifying and intentional energies for a moment. Then place your hand into the bowl and pass it on to the next person.
For those of you at home.
By the grace of our hearts, this water is purified. May it in turn lead to purification and cleansing and joy for the coming year. So would it be.
So mote it be.
So, we will now honor Lupercus, and the wolves with a howl. It's time for our cakes and ale. We'll have a few of us to pour out the juice into cups. And we just kind of pass them out to each other.
Take one down, pass it around.
We'll probably do the same thing with the pretzels. Put them here.
It is good to,
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And then,
if we need more juice, we have more juice in the fridge.
oh, sorry.
Hang on, still passing.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm good.
Where am I?
You.
2, 3.
Me.
Oh, wait, Alba? Alba, did you get one?
There's
This is
three
a cup.
there.
This is a coffee cup.
All right.
It has coffee.
Perfect. You got one?
Yep, I'm good.
These are songs, by the way.
Very appropriate.
Oh, I broke one.
Oh.
I guess now you're not being baby.
Now you get the short stick. Thank you. That's what she can almost say.
Perfect.
All right.
May we never thirst.
Maybe never. May we never hunger.
May we never hunger.
So if anybody wishes to, I will send my cup around. If all that, we'll send it out to the
Yes,
bay in the garden.
perfect.
The drop left. We'll use what's left in the bottle.
Mhm.
And then we can put another dong in there too.
Dog in there.
Go ahead, Josie.
That way?
Empties.
Oh, perfect.
It belongs in the cup.
Mhm. I shall return. Feel free to continue.
Right.
We have the best fed yard.
All the cool racket would take on your.
You wouldn't believe what we get over there. Some boar's head ham ones.
Tonight we're getting pretzel. All right,
You got
so it is now time to close out our circle, beginning in the north.
Guardians of the North, wolves of Earth, we thank you for your solid presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
Guardians to the west.
Yeah.
Guardians of the West, wolves of water, we thank you for your soothing presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
Guardians of the South. Wolves of fire, we thank you for your energetic presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
Guardians of the East, wolves of the air, we thank you for your whispering presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell
And blessed be. Lupercus, Pan, we thank you for your presence here this night. Until we meet again, blessed be.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
As above, so below. As within, so without. I now release this sacred space. May we always meet in love and trust. So mote it be.
So thank you everyone for joining us tonight for the Grove second annual Lupercalia celebration.
Was wonderful. Thank you.
This is also Kimmy and Jonathan's first anniversary of their handcraft.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Right.
So may they have all the healing and health and prosperity that can come to them this year, because I know they need.
They shall have
Absolutely.
2 fat, healthy children.
Well, they need a song.
Well, we will thong you later.
Yeah.
When I say men are giving women thongs, they're just coming from Victoria's Secret.
Oh.
True.
Oh, it all.
Instead of a freshly killed goat.
It always.
Thank you.
It all comes full circle, so thank you everyone. Blessed night.
Blessed be.
Yes.